Hello comrades, Russian Pro Gunman here, playing Black Ops 3 on Xbox One. It was June 2nd, 2017 when a new contract was released called Triple Played, and this awards you with the Triple Play bundle, which you can get a guaranteed ranged weapon, melee weapon, 10 rare supply drops, and as of June 2017 everybody is going crazy trying to get this as fast as they can, and for this contract requires 100 wins, okay? So it came out, as I said, June 2nd, and it had a time limit of 3 days, okay, until the 5th. And I thought that it was 3 days to complete 100 wins. So, casually I go ahead and do this. No, honestly, this was probably the most difficult and intense challenge I ever set myself, to get 100 wins in 3 days in my entire Call of Duty career. It was quite intensive, and I know for a fact people are going to deny this, but a lot of other people thought the same, that you only had 3 days to get these 100 wins. But as it turns out, on a comment in my previous video, and I also saw another video eventually after completing all 100 wins, of course, that somebody else was somebody else already knew about how you only had to activate the contract during those 3 days, okay? So you didn't have to get all these 100 wins, but that doesn't stop me from going absolute beast mode in this gun game on Combine, as we can see here. And this brings me to the thing that you guys want to know the most, and that is, what game mode should I play to get these 100 wins as fast as I possibly can? Mr. Gunman, tell me about this. Well, of course, I have the professional advice that you're looking for, so stay tuned, okay? So number one, the first thing I did during this weekend that we had, it was a special event. It was called Nuke Jacked, which was a combination of Nuketown and Skyjacked, which is a remake of Hijacked from Black Ops 2, for those that didn't know. And I started playing that playlist because it had double crypto keys. But obviously, with this kind of community contract and double crypto keys in that playlist, that made it incredibly, like twice as competitive as this incredibly competitive level that it was already at. So it's like all the competition came in and then you had twice as much competition. It was absolutely ridiculous, and you had tons and tons of people complaining about terrible teams, which we always see in Call of Duty, but especially during this weekend with this contract and the double keys in that playlist. So after the first day, honestly, and I played maybe like 3 or 4 hours, I could only get about 13 wins on the contract after activating it. So I knew from that first day, it was a Friday, that this shit was no good. I had to find a different game mode. Now, I have experience playing Black Ops 3, obviously. I'm over level 500, as you guys already saw in the lobby, and during that time, I started off mostly playing free-for-all, okay? But I have most of my experience in free-for-all, which is another fast game mode and definitely a recommended game mode for 100 wins, but actually there is an even better alternative to it. From my experience in playing free-for-all, I can tell you that while it is a fast mode, in that you will usually end the game in 6 to 7 minutes if you play on like hardcore free-for-all, and if you're relatively used to the mode, you know the spawns, and you get your score streaks and you do well, it will usually be about 6 to 7 minutes, okay? But sometimes it could happen that players rage quit the game, or if you can't find any players, it could turn out that the free-for-all ends on the timer, which is 10 minutes. When you're going for 100 wins, you can't have these kinds of long-ass games because, well, hypothetically, let's say that you only did have 3 days to get 100 wins, which now, as I think about it, is kind of ridiculous, because, as I said, this was actually the most intense challenge I ever set myself in my entire Call of Duty career. To get 100 wins in 3 days, it's actually a lot more difficult than it sounds, and at a high level of competition, it does not mean 100 games. It's going to be closer probably towards 150 games, to be realistic, you know, because you win a game, you might lose a game, you might win like a few games and you're gonna lose. It is inevitable. When you go for 100 wins, you will see some losses. But that mode right there, gun game on Combine, is a really good map for that mode, and Nuketown as well, okay? Both of these maps, you see them in your gun game playlist, you make sure you vote for them, okay? If they're not there, try voting random, and then you can possibly land on either Combine or Nuketown, and I really recommend gun game, I have to say, okay? Now let me give my reasons for this. First off, the radar, it's always on. Some of you might be familiar with this setting if you played in custom games with your friends. You can turn radar always on, and what that will allow you to have is constantly sweeping radar. And gun game is the only online game mode which actually enables this setting, and it is very useful for speeding up the game, knowing exactly where your enemies are. And another thing is that gun game will end in 20 kills, okay? This is 10 kills faster than in free-for-all, where you have 30 kills, and it just makes it so much quicker, averaging about 3 to 4 minutes a game, 2 minutes if you go absolute beast mode, like kind of like this. These gameplays I'm showing you on Combine, Nuketown, these are about 2.5 to 3 minute games, so this kind of beast mode will get you the fastest possible wins in Black Ops 3, okay? And why is it fastest, again, outside of constantly sweeping radar and the 20 kills? Why is it so fast? Well, actually, it is because of the drive that a lot of players get. They want to get to their next weapon, right? So theoretically it should reduce camping. However, there are some power positions like certain head glitches that could be closer to the middle of the map. You might see a bit more camping there, but generally it will convince more and more players to get through their weapons as fast as they can. They're going to have to move more and, you know, to cycle through those weapons, okay? A bit of a troubling point in gun game is like, certainly the Shiva, I always get annoyed, you have to be incredibly accurate with it, okay? And the Gorgon, I mean, it is definitely a high damage profile submachine gun, light machine gun, but the fire rate is just way too slow on that thing. I want to give you a tip with the Locust. You don't actually have to hold down your left analog stick to hold your breath. The ballistic CPU attachment on it already does that for you. So if you get your crosshairs across a player on a Locust, you just hit the right trigger, boom, you should be able to get the one shot. You know, Treyarch was nice enough to give us an ELO optic on the SVG sniper rifle, and it is relatively easy to get your kill with that one, but it has a little bit of a slower fire rate, but definitely a high damage round, so you will definitely be able to kill your enemies more often with the SVG than even the Locust, I would say, comparing them on a one-shot level. That is the end of this gameplay as well, and we get our 20 kills so quickly. And I will emphasize again, gun game is that game mode that you want to choose for 100 wins. It stands out across all of the other modes, and initially when this contract first came out, June 2nd, 2017, we had such a high level of competition. Literally, everybody was trying their ass off in every lobby. It didn't matter whether it was the exclusive Nukejacked playlist with double crypto keys. It could be anything. It could be Team Deathmatch, Domination, Search and Destroy, even Safeguard and Uplink. You had the Demolition, you Capture the Flag. Every single mode. Here we get our triple plate contract, by the way. A range supply drop, melee bundle, and we have 10 freaking, it is just incredible. So many awesome supply drops that we get, and I will be opening them shortly. But anyways, you had competition everywhere. Zombies Chronicles also recently came out during this time for any of you people watching in the future. Now in this video I will actually not be opening my ranged or melee weapon drops, because I'm going to be saving those for any future DLC. Of course it makes sense, I know many of you guys will agree with me. In fact, I actually purchased a triple play earlier and I got the AK-74U. I may be uploading that in the future, and I'll show you some really good loot out of the triple player supply drops. Here we have the 10 rare bundle, which it was not exactly great, but I can give you a tip about how to get better loot out of your supply drops. It can be any supply drops at all, rares, commons, bundles, whatever. If you get this, like 1 rare, 2 commons in a rare supply drop, press B and then go back to your bundle or go back to opening the supply drops. This could apply to the 6-pack and the daily doubles that you have a chance of opening daily. Just press B, go back to the home of the black market and then come back into the bundle or supply drops. What this does is resets the random number that you're assigned every time that you open a supply drop, which will in turn increase your chance of possibly getting a rare, legendary, or epic item. For rare supply drops, it's going to be legendary and epics. For common supply drops, you at least want to get a rare item, so when you burn your duplicates, you have more crypto keys to get on your return on investment, essentially, okay? You're investing the crypto keys in the supply drops, and you want to get as much of a return as possible. Hope you enjoyed the video, comrades. Leave me some feedback down below. Drop a like, subscribe. Have an excellent day. До свидания.